Hi everyone, welcome to our free puppy training workshop. Today in part one, we're going to be talking all about socialization, just kind of going on a deep dive into what proper socialization looks like. Because I think when most puppy owners think about socialization, what comes to mind is getting their puppies exposed to as many new people, places, and things as they can think of. And while that's certainly an important part of socialization, it's just one dimension. It's not the whole picture. The whole picture is so much more, so much bigger. It's really setting up your puppy for a successful future with you. It's setting him up to have a solid training foundation and a solid relationship with you. And so I want to take this workshop to talk about what proper socialization really is, and to kind of just, like I said, go in a deep dive on that. And hopefully you guys will leave with a greater understanding of what socialization is and how important it is in your puppy's training. So let's get started by defining what socialization is. So this is definition for humans. It's the process beginning during childhood by which individuals acquire the values, habits, and attitudes of a society. It's another way to say it is the process of learning one's culture and how to live within it. I particularly like that last definition because it kind of captures the training aspect of socialization. But as you can see just from this definition for people, how it's way more than just being exposed to new things. It's really teaching the right attitudes, teaching the right habits, the values, just kind of the how to live within this culture. It's all this training and all this socialization just all intertwined together. So I want to unpack this some more. For me, true socialization is teaching what normal looks like. This is a very helpful way that I have found to look at socialization, because it takes it from just knew this, knew that, to what do I want normal to look like for my puppy? What do I want him to consider normal? And I would really encourage you, after this video is done, to take some time to get out to get out a pencil and paper, that's what I was trying to say, and write down some ideas of what you want normal to look like. What does a well-trained dog look like to you? What do you want your puppy to grow up and behave like? What activities do you want him to consider normal? What places do you want him to consider normal? What things do you as a family, you and your family, what do you guys like to do? And how do you want to include your puppy in that? And how can you start now training him, socializing him in those areas? That way he can just seamlessly enjoy those activities with you as well. And this kind of brings me to another point. Teaching what normal is not just teaching what it looks like, but it's also teaching what normal behaves like. So this is not just I want my puppy to think that people are normal, so I go and follow the common socialization advice of 100 people in 100 days, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not picking on that. I'm just using it as an example. That isn't just what this is. You're wanting to teach him what normal behaves like. So the two common side effects of thinking I need to teach have my puppy exposed to 100 people in 100 days. The two common side effects of that are going to be you're going to have your puppy, you're going to be so focused on him just meeting the person and interacting with them that you may not be paying attention to his behavior during those interactions, because while at the same time that he is learning all these different kinds of people are normal, he's also learning what a proper greeting looks like. And if he is dragging you on the end of his leash to go say hi to people, or if he's jumping up people that he's greeting, or he's just super crazy excited, or maybe he's a little fearful, or whatever the situation is, he is going to be learning this is a normal greeting. And so you need to take the time and take the energy, realize this is what is happening, and realize that you can help in the beginning, from the very beginning when he starts interacting with people, when he starts greeting people. You can start teaching him what you want a polite greeting to look like by just being observant and having in your mind ahead of time what you want your puppy to do. Do you want him to sit? Do you just want him to, are you fine as long as he just doesn't jump on the people? You need to kind of think that through in your head what you want that to look like, and then you can start teaching that and when you come across those situations in real life. Obviously, he needs to have the skills before, just a side note, he needs to have the skills before you start teaching it in real life situations. So there's kind of a difference there. Like, you can train in the moment, but only if your puppy has the prerequisite skills that he needs in order to be successful. But that's a different topic for a different video. But anyway, so that you have that aspect of it, of him learning what a polite greeting is. But you also have the aspect of he is learning, do you really want that? Okay, let me ask it this way. Do you really want him to grow up thinking that everybody that he ever comes in contact with are going to be people that want to greet him? So that he is supposed to just expect people to greet him? Because this is going to pose two different problems. One of them is he's going to be much less, the tendency is going to be for him to be focused on people other than you when you're out in public, because he's going to be hoping that they're going to give him a pet, they're going to say hi to him, they're going to do those things. Most owners, including myself, I don't really want my puppies doing that. For me, I want my puppy to just casually notice people. This is my ideal, is for him to casually notice people and then just to go say hi whenever I release him to do that. So if I say, okay, go say hi, then he can go say hi to that person. That's my ideal. Because otherwise I don't want him focused on the other people around me. I want him focused on me. That way we can walk and do our thing. So I don't really think it's kind of a false expectation for our puppies. Oh, I forgot to mention, the other problem with that is the fact that not everybody wants to be greeted by your dog, and so if you let your dog greet everybody, you're on some people who really don't appreciate that. And because of that, it's an unrealistic expectation for us to build in our puppy that he's supposed to get greeted by everybody. Everybody's going to say hi to him, because that's not real life. And so instead of making sure my puppy greets each person we come in contact with, I'm going to have him greet some people, but a lot of people we're going to just walk past. We're just going to sit there and watch them. Whatever, we're going to do some kind of observation, no contact observation of some kind, because that's more realistic. That's more real life, and that's what I want him to consider normal. So I wanted to bring out the whole what normal looks like and also what normal behaves like, because I think that's commonly not emphasized enough, and it can cause problems later down the road. Okay, so the next one on my list, lost my train of thought there for a second. Next one on my list is building confidence. Building confidence specifically with new places, noises, sights, smells, and surfaces. I want my puppy to have confidence in these areas, because it kind of goes along with the next one, is I want him to be optimistic. And optimistic just mean, like, teaching my puppy to be optimistic is just teaching him to assume that new things are good. That's what optimism, when talked about in socialization or dog training, it's optimistic is the assumption that new things are good. I want him to have confidence and optimism, and the way how we're gonna do that is we're going to have winnable challenge and winnable novelty challenge. Novelty just means new, and we're gonna have these winnable challenges for him. For example, maybe have him walk on an unstable surface, a surface that's just a little bit wobbly or something, and have it be a winnable challenge. And once he wins the challenge, he gets, he does it, and it's been a positive experience, he's going to have more confidence to do it again next time. It's the same thing with teaching optimism. When he goes into a new situation, if it's a positive experience, he's going to be more optimistic the next new thing he encounters. And so that's really important. Another thing is I'm wanting him to learn how to relax in new places and around chaos. And this is basically emotional control, which is super, super important. It's often, I feel like it's often not emphasized enough in puppy training and socialization, definitely. But it's a absolutely important. It's so important. In fact, it's so important that I'm going to be doing. That's what part 3 of this workshop is going to be all about: is relaxation training, calmness training, all those types of things. Because your puppy is going to be happy. A happy puppy is one that can be relaxed. If he's all tense and nervous about something, or just worked up about something, that's not a good state for him to be in. He needs to be balanced and relaxed and just be able to take things in stride. But puppies aren't good at that, and neither are adolescents. That's something that, mentally they're still controlling their emotions is something that they may not be able to they can't fully master at a young age, but it's something you can start teaching them in. You can start working towards that. And that's really important to start at a young age when you're first socializing. And like we talk about this a lot in our new puppy bedrock course. And we'll be giving you more information about that at the end of this video. But it's super important. And through all of this, so this whole list here, through all of this, we are building mutual communication and trust in our relationship. Getting tongue-tied. The communication is built through the training that we go through and all that kind of stuff. And the trust is built in not pushing our puppy into scary situations before he's ready, and just building that confidence and that optimism. So basically, socialization is all about creating winnable novelty challenges for your puppy. So it's building that confidence. You can just kind of all narrow this down to teaching what normal is and creating winnable novelty challenges for your puppy. And I want to have a word here about quality rather than quantity. It's important that you choose quality, so a quality socialization experience, rather than just, I gotta meet this goal of 100 new places in 100 days, or whatever you want, whatever you want to use. Like, again, I'm not picking on that model because there's nothing wrong with it as long as it's taken in balance with everything else we've talked about today. That's great and that's fine. It's just, I would rather you only expose your puppy to 50 new people or 50 new places or 50 new dogs or whatever than it be 100 and several of the experiences not go well. There have been times for me personally, whenever I have been socializing a puppy and I was, for example, maybe I was going to go somewhere the next day and it would be a great socialization experience for my puppy. There's lots of different factors involved. There'd be lots of new things, but I wasn't for sure that it would be a winnable challenge for her. Or maybe I was going to be there all day long and I couldn't just really leave if she started having trouble. In those situations, I chose not to take that opportunity for socialization because I didn't want to compromise the quality of the socialization, because that is way more important than the quantity. So I just want to bring that out just as a reminder that it's the quality that's important. You don't have to have that many different socialization experiences if they're really good. But you're going to have to do a lot of work if you have situations that if you do a lot of different situations and half of them go bad, you're going to have a lot of more trouble properly socializing your puppy than you would if you just decided, I'm not going to put him in that situation because it could really go bad quick. I don't think he's ready for that yet. Instead, I'm going to choose something that I know for sure is going to be a quality experience, a positive experience for him, and that even if it's way shorter, way less often, it's going to be more effective in the long run than just getting a lot of quantity in there. Okay, so let's talk about 4 rules for to help a socialization experience to be quality, to go well, to be positive. And so this first one is the puppy is the one who decides if a certain stimulus is frightening, even if you don't see why he's nervous about it. This is really important because puppies are young. Things that don't make sense to us are going to frighten them. And you've got to, as his owner, as his protector, as his caretaker, you need to be aware of that and to realize that in order to keep that trust that you're wanting to work on, you can't push him into you can't just blow off a fear. It's like he's afraid of something, like, oh, whatever, get over it. That's not how you can, if you want to have a good relationship with your puppy, that's not the best way to handle that. So again, this kind of goes on with the same idea. If your puppy is nervous about something, about approaching it specifically, don't push him to do it. So as a child, I personally had a lot of different fears growing up. Some of them were realistic, like, okay, maybe afraid of the shadows at night or whatever. But others of them were absolutely ridiculous. They made no sense to my parents. And they make no sense to me now, even when I'm older. But to me, they were, at the time, they were very frightening, and it was very real to me. It would not help me if somebody pushed me to, if somebody made me feel like I was forced to get closer to something than I was comfortable with. For example, I was terrified of any kind of insect that would sting you. It was never helpful, and I'm glad nobody ever did it, where somebody either physically or just somehow manipulated me or something. It basically forced me to have to get closer to a stinging insect than I wanted to, than I felt comfortable with. I did have lots of people who were trying to talk me into it, as far as like, it's not that bad, and that wasn't harmful to me, because I knew I did not have to do it if I didn't want to, because I was in control of that aspect. They were not going to force me to do it. They were trying to help me think logically. It kind of helped, kind of didn't. But they did try, but it didn't. My trust was not broken with them, because I knew they weren't going to actually force me to do something that was scary. If they would have, it would have totally messed up any kind of trust I would have had with them. It would have broken that. And that's it's the same thing with your puppy. If he's afraid of something, and there are different levels of fear. Like, I was absolutely terrified of stinging insects. There are other things that I was afraid of, but people were like, no, it's no big deal, and I trusted them, and so I was able to do it. But there were other things that I was so terrified of them, I didn't care how much I trusted the person, I was too terrified of them to do that thing. To go buy the stinging insect. Maybe I was, somebody's like, because I was also, for example, afraid of going by cars that were on, like a car that was running, and I was afraid it might, hit me or something. But if somebody said, go ahead, you can walk across the parking lot, that person's, they're going to stop for you, I would do that. It make me uncomfortable. Same thing with your puppy. I don't want to get too bogged down in this, but same thing with your puppy. There are some things that he might be just slightly cautious about, and you can kind of encourage him on. But there are some things, if he's really frightened about it, do not push him. Do not push him. It's not worth it. If your puppy is doing well with a new situation, don't push it until he isn't doing well. If at all possible, leave on a positive note. So this might look like, this is basically, which kind of goes on with the next one, always go at your puppy's pace. This is meeting your puppy where he's at. So if your puppy can only handle a 15-minute trip inside the pet store, for example, then don't take him on a trip when you're planning on being there for an hour. He can't handle it. You have to go at his pace. If you've been there for 15 minutes and he's doing really well, but you can tell he's getting a little tired or whatever, don't go, well, let's try to, just for the sake of keeping a goal, let's make this 20 minutes. There's no purpose to that. There's no good reason to do that. If he's doing well at 15, go home, take a break, go again the next time. You can slowly build his duration, but don't push him before he's ready for it yet. So these are just rules, again, how to have a positive socialization experience that goes well and builds that confidence, that mutual trust in your relationship, all of those things. It teaches what normal looks like, all of those things that socialization is. These are just some 4, socialization rules, guidelines that can help you keep that a positive experience for your puppy. So I hope this has been a helpful video for you. If you have any questions, you can throw those into the comments. If you have questions about any of this, I know we weren't able to get into a lot of practicals today, and that's because we don't have all the time in the world to get into those practicals. But if you are wanting to learn more about socialization, you need to know more, wanting to know how to get into those practicals and how to actually do it. Our brand new Puppy Bedrock course is about to release, and with this course we have a puppy blueprint, or we have a socialization blueprint ebook. This is a brand new ebook that I have created that talks all about socialization. This starts out with kind of what socialization is, which is what this video has been, and then it goes into all the practicals. And I'm just gonna pull this up here really quick for you guys to see. Here, this is the book. It's 14 pages long, and it covers just the different. It talks about how to do novelty at home, so how you can do socialization at home if you're in a situation where you can't get out in public, or if your puppy hasn't had all the shots yet or whatever, and but you don't want to miss out on his important socialization time period. It talks about in depth on socialization with other dogs, other people, kind of how I go about doing that. Talks a lot about observation, which is kind of helps with that, not teaching your puppy that he gets to meet everybody or he gets to meet every dog. And we also at the end also has the pet friendly store checklist to kind of help you see if your puppy is ready for pet friendly stores. And I also talk about how I go, the order of which I do things, like how I introduce new things as far as new locations and new places to go. So that is an exclusive bonus to the Puppy Bedrock course. And the Puppy Bedrock course is just about to open enrollment. We're going to be doing kicking the doors open to that course at the end of this workshop. So if you have any questions about the course, any questions about socialization in general, or this workshop or anything like that, go ahead and drop those into the comments of this video, and I will try to get those answered. And be on the lookout for the part 2 of this workshop. It's going to be on the topic of focus training, which is super important to your overall training. Super important aspect in your puppy training that isn't emphasized enough as much as it could be, because it really can't be emphasized too much. So we're going to be talking about that in the next workshop, which is going to be released on, let me make sure I get my date right, Tuesday, April 12th. So be on the lookout for that. And if, like I said, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments here, and hope you have a great day.